Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class today. Well, in the last class, I think we were doing work, power, and energy, and I think we were discussing work energy theorem. In today's class, let us start with a brief discussion of the paper that was held on Sunday. I think most of you would have done all the problems. I'll just go through them. If you have any doubts in any problem, you can raise them. Okay, I think the first problem is problem number 14, which is very simple. I hope I'm audible and visible to all. Everything you can see, right? A bird moves from some point to the other point. The speed of the bird is 10 meter per second. What is the velocity of the bird? How will you find the velocity of the bird? Speed is given, and it is given from where to where it moves. So you know what? You know the direction of motion. So you have to multiply speed with the direction of motion. Speed is already given. Direction of motion, you can find out the vector, initial point to the final point. You can find out that vector. You have to find the unit vector. That was the thing that should have understood. You have to find the unit vector in the direction of that vector, multiply it with the speed, and you will get the velocity of the particle. Is it clear to everyone? That's how that question should have been done. A simple conceptual question involving the concept of unit vectors. The next one is pretty simple. A particle is moving in xy plane, 2 meter per second along x-axis. 2 seconds later, its velocity is 4 meter per second, making an angle of 60 degree with positive x-axis. What is the average acceleration? Average acceleration is total change in velocity divided by total time. Initial velocity is known, final velocity is known. Write it in vector form. Find out the change in velocity, divide it by the time, and you will get the average acceleration. So that was question number 15. Is there any particular question that anyone wants to talk about? Question number 16. The velocity of a particle moving along x-axis is given by v is equal to x square minus 5x plus 4, where x denotes the x coordinate of the particle in meter. Find the magnitude of acceleration when the velocity of the particle is 0. So what you got to do here, first put the velocity as 0, find the value of x. It's the quadratic equation. So you will get the value of x when velocity is 0. Now velocity is given. From velocity, how will you find out acceleration? Acceleration is v into dv by dx. So multiply v by dv by dx and you get your answer. You will get the value of acceleration as a function of x. Put the value of x from the previous equation in this equation and you have your answer straight away. Question number 17, straightforward question. X coordinate is given, y coordinate is given. Differentiate x coordinate, differentiate y coordinate. You get vx, you get vy, square them, add them, take the under root, and you get the magnitude of speed. Velocity ka magnitude, which is nothing but speed. Now these questions are pretty simple and straightforward ones. For motion in one dimension, a particle is projected vertically upwards from point A. Remember, whatever questions are very descriptive, they take a long time to read. They are almost or every time the easiest one to solve, because most of the data is already given in the question. You just need to read the question once and you should be able to answer them very simply. So remember, that's a giveaway, that if a question is very long, it has to be simple, and it almost every time is. It looks like a bigger question, but it is a very simple one. A particle is projected vertically upwards from point A on the ground. It takes t1 time to reach point B. So you can draw the diagram. A to B, time is t1, but still continues to move up. So it is still moving up. If it takes further t2 time to reach the ground from point B, so basically this is t1, then from here to here is t2. So t1 plus t2 becomes your total time of flight. Once you know the total time of flight, everything becomes very simple. So just imagine it, and as soon as you read the question, the picture should be in your head. What is happening? You can just mark it. This is point A. This is point B. From here to here, oops, point B is here. From here to here, time taken is T1. Then it goes up, comes down. This time is T2. T1 plus T2 by 2 becomes your total time, and after that, everything is simple. I hope you are getting this. Yes or no? So it's all about the bigger the question, the simpler it is. So mind that. If a question is of a single line, it may be the most difficult question in the paper. Initially, a car A is 10 meters ahead of car B. A simple question of relative motion, I think. Both start moving at time t is equal to 0 in the same direction along the same straight line. The velocity time graph of the two cars is given in the figure. The time when car B will catch the car A will be how much? So you can see car A is moving with a uniform velocity, but car B is moving with a uniform acceleration. This is a question of relative velocity. If you become car A or you become car B, car A or car B will not go anywhere. We have done this question many times. So you either become car A or you become car B. If you become, see, this is car A, आगे, this is car B, पीछे. If you become car A does not go, car B will come forward. That is the easier one to do it. I always do it that way. So I'll become car A. This is car B. Initial velocity is 0. You have to find the velocity of car B with respect to car A. Initial velocity, that will be equal to velocity of car B minus velocity of car A. You will get the initial velocity of car B with respect to A. You know the displacement of B with respect to A. You know the acceleration of B with respect to A. You should be able to find out after how much time the car B is able to overtake car A. Is it clear to everyone how I have done this? The simplest way it has to be done, it can be done, is by the concept of relative velocity, and that is what you had to remember. Question number 20 is a pretty standard one. Remember, whether it's a paper of JEE Main or it's a paper of JEE Advanced, there will be questions which would be scoring, which would be straight away answers. You know the answer, you have to tick them. So my paper will always have those questions which would be simpler. Now, why I give simpler question and why I can make the toughest paper in the entire universe. You will not be able to score much, but that is not my aim. My aim is to give you a paper which is more likely to come, to give you a real feel of the paper that can come, to make you understand that there are questions in the paper that are going to be tough, but to also make you understand that most of the questions in the paper are going to be easy, and you have to find out those easy ones and don't make a mistake there. If you find out those easy ones, out of 25 questions, I can bet around 18 questions would be easy, medium to easy. 18 at least. Forget about the rest 7. 18 questions would be easy out of 25. You have to find those. And that is the reason there must be questions like this. As you can see, the question looks long, but the answer is straightforward. A body of mass m is moving in a circle of radius r with a constant piece v. The centripetal force is mv square by r. What is the work done? It's a simple question. No need to discuss this. You have to find out those questions where you can just mark them, score, and go ahead. There will be questions like this. If the unit of force and length each be increased by 4 times, what is the unit of energy increased by? This is a question which comes in work by energy, but this is a question of units and dimension. You could have easily done this, not a problem. You lift a heavy block from the floor of a room and keep it in a bookshelf having a height of 2 meters. In this process, you take 5 seconds, work done by you. Again, a question which would take time to read, but then you know the answer and you can just tick it. So a paper has to be in that pattern where it resembles what you are supposed to see in the examination hall. A force F is equal to 5I plus 3J Newton is applied over particle which displaces from the origin, initial point origin to final point is what is the work done? It is just a question of finding out the dot product, getting the answer, staying happy. Right? Next one. A force acts on a 30-gram particle in such a way that the position of the particle as a function of time is given by this, where x is in meter, t is in seconds. What is the work done during the 4 seconds? Anyone was able to do this question? No, this question was a bit tricky because probably you would not have done a question of this nature. Anyone was able to do this one? No one? No one. See, so that is the question that you might have to skip while you are attempting the paper. So there will be question that you might have to skip. How to do this? Well, I will not tell you now because I will do it in a different way. So we will do it in a different way. It is simple. It is simple. It is not that difficult. The only thing is here x is given as a function of time. Here x is given as a function of time. That doesn't make a lot of difference. Now you would this question, there would be question that would be coming which similar question may not have been done in the class, but then you will have to apply your brain, and that is how you understand that new questions will come, and this is a new question. I could have done it in the class. I did not do it because I wanted to put it in a paper, and I wanted to see how many of you could do this. Any idea? Chalo, any idea how you will do this? Question number 24. It's a question of the current chapter. How anyone would do this? What is your idea? Tell me. How would you do this? Anyone? No one? No one can tell me this. You should have some idea, na? What will you do with this question? If a question comes, because there will be questions that will be coming in the exam which will be new. That is why you have to put your brains. Anyone would like to say anything about this? No one? Think about it. I'll give you 2 minutes. Think about it. Give me an idea. Give me an idea how to do this. Let me see what you are thinking. Think. Up till now, whatever questions I had done in the class, where force was given as a function of x, simple, just integrate, stay happy. Here it is not same. Here it is not like that. What do you do now? Tell me. No one. Come on, you can do the better. Say something. As I told you, there is no answer which is correct, and there is no answer which is wrong. We just have to understand what we think. Whenever a question comes, and questions like this will come in the examination hall. But that doesn't mean if it is a new question, you can't do it. You can do it. I've told you much more than what you needed to know to solve any question that can come in the paper. The only thing is which question is going to come in the paper. No one? Okay. I will give you another day to do this. Think about this. Why I am taking so much time? I can do it in half a minute, not even half a minute. You can do it in probably 10 to 15 seconds. But my doing will not help you. That will not help you in developing your own concepts. So I will leave this question and I will hope that you work on this question and tell me how to do this. Do you want a hint to solve this? Please raise your hands if you want a hint to solve it. No one wants a hint? Only one student. Yes, you want a hint. What about the others? You don't want a hint? So the hint is very simple. Why I'm giving you this hint? Because you have to understand that there is nothing new in this question. Only the question is framed in a different way. The hint is, if I have to find out work done, the only formula I know for work done is integral of f dot dx. And this is the same formula that I'm going to use. Nothing has changed there. The same formula that I use. Now, instead of writing it as a dot product, I will know that force and displacement are in the same direction. So instead of writing it that way, I will just write it magnitude of x into dx integral of this. That is the work done by the force. But the problem here is I don't know force, and I don't know from where to where the particle is moving. So I don't know the value of x. Force must be as a function of x, but force here will not be a function of x. Force will be a function of something else. How to change it? Think about it. And I will come back to you with this question in the next class, because this is again a question of the same chapter that we are dealing with. That takes us to the last question. I think the work done in pulling up a block of wood weighing 2 kilonewtons for a length of 10 meters on a smooth inclined plane at an angle of 15 degrees. Again, this was a conceptual question. We will be doing question of this nature. How much work has to be done? So I have to pull something. This pen is on ground here. I have to pull it from here to here. How much work I need to do? That was the question. Now, instead of pulling it straight up, it is pulled along the incline. That doesn't make any difference. So how much work I need to do to take this pen up from here to here? Who is going to tell me this? Pen is here. Pen is this block. I am lifting it from here to here. How much work I need to do? How much work I need to do? Anyone would like to say anything? No one?
GH
No one has any idea?
minus MGH.
Why minus mgh and why not plus mgh, beta?
Opposite to gravity.
Yes, opposite to gravity. Why? We'll start with this point today. Block is here. I have to lift it from here to here. There are only two forces working on this body now. There are only two forces working on this body now. One is what? Gravity. And other is the force which you are lifting it. There are only two forces working on this body. Now, how to solve this? There was an important information missing in this question, but I did not put it because this is the way the question might come to you in the examination hall. Now, remember what we did in the last class? We did that work done by all forces is equal to change in kinetic energy. Do we remember this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Work done by all forces is equal to change in kinetic energy. Okay, please. Okay. Now here, when I talk about all forces, there are only two forces here. What are the two forces? One is the force with which I am lifting it. I call it external force. So one is the external force with which I am lifting it, and the other force is gravity. There are only two forces. Now work done by these two forces, and remember this very specifically, Work done by these two forces must be equal to change in kinetic energy. But now you have to think, what is the change in kinetic energy? Now it is not mentioned in the question, but remember, such questions will come and you will have to assume it. What is the change in kinetic energy? Now whenever such a question comes, it is always added that it is pulled very slowly, very slowly. Normally this question, whenever just such question come, the body will be moving very slowly. Now what difference does it make? What difference does it make? I bring it like this, or I bring it like this, where you can hardly imagine that this is moving, but it is still moving. You can, I don't know whether you can see my hand moving, but it is moving up. You can see the pen coming up. So I'm moving it very slowly, and this term will come very often. Now, when I'm moving it very slowly, what they actually mean to say is that what? Is that this change in kinetic energy is zero. So that is one thing that you have to understand in this question. That this change in kinetic energy is zero. I'm lifting it very slowly. This is very fast. Very slowly. Even this is fast. Very slowly. So change in kinetic energy is zero. Now, how does my equation look like now? Now my equation looks like work done by all forces is zero. Because change in kinetic energy is zero. I am not changing the kinetic energy. Work done by all forces is zero. That means work done by external force plus work done by gravity, they sum up to zero, and then you have your answer that the work done by this external force would be equal to negative of work done by gravity. And work done by gravity is very easy to find out. I am lifting it up. So work done by gravity is minus mgh. So work done by me would be minus of minus mgh. My answer would be plus mgh. Do we understand this? That is how this question was done. Again, we have not discussed this. We are supposed to discuss this in the coming classes when we are going to do work done by this gravity and work done by this, maybe in today's class. But then that is what you have to think ahead. You already know work kinetic energy theorem, so you must think ahead what is going to happen. Now, some of you might have got the answer correctly because you must have found work done by gravity, because that is the only thing that you know in this question. And I won't give you a question where you don't know anything about. So you would have found out the work done by gravity and अरे वही होगा उतना ही होगा. That must be the answer, and you might have ticked it. That is called luck. Now you know the reason behind it, that why it comes negative of work done by gravity. So I have discussed the question which we already covered. Question number 24, I would still want you to think. I can solve it, not a problem. I can do it in 10 seconds, not a problem, but that will not serve any purpose, because the purpose it was given. Remember, I am not giving you questions or papers for the purpose of you scoring marks or for the purpose of you feeling good or bad about it. I'm giving you the paper for a purpose. The purpose of the paper is to understand which questions to attempt, which questions to leave, how to score marks. And I'll keep on doing it. Now, there's some question which I want you to think about. You cannot do it in the examination hall, doesn't matter. Can you do it now? Because if you can do it now, you will be learning something not new, something in a different way. And if you can find out that different way, that is what my task is all about. Because I always feel if I do everything in the class, your brain will not develop in the way that I want it to develop. And if a new question comes, you will be caught. I don't want that. So I will still give you time to solve this. Next class, obviously, I'll tell you the answer, how to do it. But trial is important. If you try, I would be very happy. If you try, you will get it. It's not rocket science. It's a very simple question. Okay. Having said that, let us now move on to today's class. And Hanak sent me a message in the morning. Thank you, beta. I had already forgotten it. that we are supposed to discuss a question, sir, that we did it wrongly. Yes, we are supposed to discuss that, and we are going to discuss that. Anyone can make mistake. I make me a lot of mistakes, and probably I overlooked the question, and that is why the mistake. So what I'm going to do is probably correct the mistake, and the question here where is this? And the question here it comes. This is the question that probably I am talking about, which I think I did a mistake, and I definitely made a mistake. Now the question is what mistake I made. Now let us first have a look at the question. And the question was here: I had a force, we had a force 3I minus 2xj. Obviously, this is a non-conservative force. Everyone can see that. We are supposed to find the work done in different parts. I think we did this part correctly. The part A, number one part, we did it correctly, but we made a mistake in the number two path. The number two path was this one. Number two path was this path. And I think Hanak pointed it out. He was not able to understand. And that is when I read the question, oh, I made a mistake. Thank you. So what is the problem? So again, the question comes now. And we'll again try to solve it. So what I'll do is I'll rub this. Tuck, 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 tuck. Everything goes away. Everything goes away from here. And this thing also goes away. And I have this question now. The force that we have is vectorly 3I minus 2xj. I think that was force. Now, yes, that was the force. Now I have to find the work done by this force in the upper wala path. Upper wala path is part number 2. How do you find it? It's very simple. Work done by this force, we just calculate it. It will be integral of 3dx minus 2x dy. You just need to integrate it. If you remember it correctly, this integral is not a problem. It can be integrated straight away. So we will not discuss this integral. The only problem in this question was this integral. And I made a mistake in one of the things. So basically, we need to calculate the yellow integral. Now, how do I calculate the yellow integral? I'll simply write it. Integral of 2x dy. Integral of 2x dy. And then I look at the green path. This one. When I go from O to C. Hanak, are you there in the class? There or not?
I'm sir.
Yes, beta. Tell me, what was your doubt and how do I do it? What happens in the green path when I'm going from O to C?
Is 0.
What is 0?
X.
X is 0. Well done. I think we did it correctly here up till here. X is 0. So I don't have to worry about the green path. Hanak, what was the mistake? When we did the pink path, I think I wrongly wrote, and it just missed my mind, that dy is 0. Is that so?
No.
Hmm?
No.
Then what did I do? What mistake did I make? Tell me.
Y is changing from 0 to 2.
Y is changing from 0 to 2. In which path, beta?
O to C. C to A.
C to A, Y is changing from 0 to 2. Are you sure? In this path, the pink path. Does the value of y change?
No, sir.
No, the value of y does not change. So in the pink path, the integral is also 0. Yes or no? The value of y is changing. Oops, wrong color. The value of y is changing from 0 to 2 in the green path. But in the green path, the value of x is 0. So the integral becomes 0. In the pink path, from C to A, the value of y, does it change? It does not change. So the integral is still 0. That means this integral is 0 whatever happens. Yes or no?
Yes.
So the only answer that we'll have for this would be work done would only be this one. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Anything wrong now?
Yes.
Do you remember how I did it? Whether I did it the same way or I did it differently? I think I did it the same way. Yes, no? Or no? Anyways, so is that all clear? How it has to be done now? Is that all clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Chalo. Since the doubt is clear, let us now move ahead. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. And there might be things that I can tell you in the on the WhatsApp or on the Telegram group. There might be things that I may not be able to explain so nicely on the WhatsApp group. So in that case, what I will do is I will probably take that out in the class so that everyone understands it. And I let you know that we will be discussing that doubt. Okay. So let us now move on and go ahead with what we were doing in the previous class. And I think the last question that we did in the previous class was this one right on your screens. Yes or no? Do you see it on your screens? You see it on your screens? There was a block. There was a block which was kept on the top, and I let it go. It slides down. It reaches the lowermost point. You had to find out what is the work. No, you had to find out what is the velocity. Do you see this, everyone? And we found out the velocity as root over 2gh. Now let us make this question somewhat different. Remember, I'm by making it different, what I'm doing here is I'm just changing the scenario and bringing some other force into the picture. That should not make much of a difference to the entire question. So now I put the question like this. I hope you are writing it now. Question number 2. Similar question, just put in a different way. Not a different way, even the way is also same. You don't have to worry much about it. So now I have this inclined plane. This is, let us say, 37 degrees because I want some good numbers here. I am projecting a mass of a body of mass m, and my velocity is v. Let me not put this as 37. Let it make it as a general question. Let me put it as theta so that I get the answers in a general form. So moving up, I projected it up. Now what I do is I just want to make the question a bit more long, lengthy. I make the floor as rough, and the coefficient of expansion, the coefficient of friction is mu. Now sometimes I think someone asked me, I think Vahini there was there. We're getting confused between mu k and fk. Mu k is the coefficient of friction. Mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction, and fk is the frictional force. Don't get confused between these two terms. Now sometimes you know that mu k and mu s. Let me write mu s here. Mu k and mu s. Mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction. Mu s is the coefficient of static friction. You must remember that mu s is always greater than mu k. But sometimes in the question, only mu is given. It is not mentioned whether it is mu s or mu k. So what you do in that case? Whether it is mu s or mu k, you take it both as same. You will say, sir, why do you take it same? They are different. Sometimes the question only says that mu. So take it as mu. So the floor is rough and the coefficient of friction is mu or mu k or whatever you want to find it out. Now, so there is a slide, there is a block here, and I push the block up. What will happen to the block? Even if the floor is not rough, what will happen to the block? Will it keep on going up till infinity? Or something will happen? It will reach a maximum height, yes or no? That is the question. Find out the maximum height it reaches. This slide is very long. You have to find out how high will it reach. Now, if this was a question of JEE Advanced, what will happen is they will ask whether it will come down or not. Then then you have to think. But again, I'll probably have to give you more information on that. I probably have to tell you the ratio between mu k and mu. I will discuss that question. But first, tell me how high will it reach? You have to tell me the value of h. Your time starts now. You can take the coefficient of friction as mu, whether it is static or kinetic, take it as mu. Question passes on. 2 minutes. Anyone with any answers, any thoughts? How will you do it? So let us assume that basically it reaches up till this height, m. So black is the original position, point A. Red is the position where something happens. What happens here? Thoughts are more important than the answer. You can get an answer even without understanding the question. You can get an answer without understanding why it is happening. Probably that's what happened in the last question where you had to find out the work done by this force to lift this block. You probably might not have understood how the answer is there, but you still got the answer. Answers are not important, thoughts are. That's what that matters in JEE Advanced. What happens? What are the thoughts? Anyone would like to share his thoughts? Anyone in the class? No one? How will you do this? Let's not waste time. If you are not ready to answer, I'll do it. So I have to find the height. I've given it a velocity v. Whenever I have velocity, whether velocity is given or velocity is asked, I should be 99.9% sure that this question has to be done by work energy theorem. So the hint to solve this question is you have to find out or you have to do it using work energy theorem. Now, how do I apply this working theorem? Let us think about how will I get this maximum height, and there will be a lot of questions on this in different ways. How do I get this maximum height? What happens at this maximum height? And it is not rocket science. We have already done it so many times. What happens at the maximum height? I project this like this. How long will it go? Will keep on going up. What will happen at the highest point? The same thing will happen at the highest point, which happens to this pen when I throw it up. When I'm throwing it up, it keeps on going up, keeps on going up, keeps on going up. Till what point it keeps on going up? No one answers in the class. Where the velocity becomes zero. That is the point till which it goes up. Once the velocity becomes zero, it has got nowhere to go. It can only move down. Whether this will move down or not, that's a different question. So it goes up. At the highest point, the velocity becomes zero. So now this is what I know. At the initial point, velocity is v. At the final point, velocity is zero. That is one thing that I know, sure. I have to find out this. What else I know? I know that I must apply work energy theorem. These are the hints to you. Still, I give you chance. Please try it and tell me how to do this. Anyone, please speak up. If there's anything that you want to add, or if you have any idea of how this question is to be done, or you want to share any thoughts. No one? Okay. If there is no one, I will do it. I will have to apply work energy theorem from point A, which is the lowest point, to point B, which is the highest point. What does the work energy theorem state? It says that work done by all forces is equal to change in kinetic energy. So far, so good. Now, once we talk about all forces, we have to draw all these forces. The first force is gravity, mg. The second force is normal reaction, N. It is moving up. Frictional force will be downwards, Fk. So these are the three forces that I must be concerned about. And I have to find out the work done by these three forces. Let us first talk about the normal reaction. What is the work done by normal reaction? This you must know at least. No one knows work done by normal reaction? Okay. Your part 2 IIT is getting tougher day by day. Okay, the work done by normal reaction is zero. If you don't participate in the class, if you don't study, there is no way that you are going to reach anywhere near an IIT. Not even the gate. The gatekeeper will shoo you away. Work done by normal reaction is zero. Normal reaction is like this. It's moving like this. The work done is zero. The next force that I'm going to talk about is the weight mg. Now, what is the work done by this weight mg? Mg is downwards. It is moving upwards. Height is h. How much is the work done by mg? Can anyone tell me this? No one. Well done. So the work done by weight is mg is downwards, height is upwards, it is moving upwards, minus mgh. Work done by gravity is minus mgh. So first of all, I'll write here, this is the work done by gravity plus work done by normal reaction. Work done by normal reaction is 0. Work done by gravity, it is moving up, is minus mgh. Is there any force working over here? One more force is left, as you can see, and that force is frictional force. The first thing you have to calculate is the value of frictional force, Fk. How much is Fk? You must remember that Fk is equal to mu k multiplied by n, where n is the normal reaction. How much is the normal reaction? You have done it so many times, you must remember it. Maybe you are not in a mood to tell it, speak up today, doesn't matter. So the value of normal reaction is mg cos theta. You must know this. So it will become mu k into mg cos theta. That is my frictional force. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? If you can't speak, at least you can raise hands. Well done. What about the boys on the left, girls on the right? Are we there in the class? Boys on the left hand side. There in the class? Okay, great. Let's keep up the spirit. So the value of frictional force is mu k into mg into cos theta. And let me add it up here. Plus work done by small f friction. Now what is the work done by this frictional force? We already know the value of this frictional force. What you have to find out is the distance it has moved. How much is the distance it has moved? So I'll draw a simple diagram here. This height is h. This angle is theta. And this length is L. So basically, I have to find the value of L. What is the value of L? It's pretty simple. I look at this triangle. I see H, I see L, I see theta. I can find out the value of L from here because H by L perpendicular upon hypotenuse has to be your sine theta. So I can find out the value of L from here. L will be equal to H by sine theta. Or you can also write it as H cosec theta. Doesn't matter. So far, so good. So now what is the work done by friction? Anyone? I have the frictional force here in yellow. My mu mg cos theta. I have the value of L here. Will it be positive or negative? Block is moving up. Frictional force is downwards. Will it be positive or negative? Anyone? Is the mic not working today? It will be negative because the block is going up and the frictional force is downwards. How much is the value? Look at the yellows. I have the value of frictional force on the left hand side. I have the value of L on the right hand side. I just multiply them. What is the answer? So I have mu k. Instead of writing it mu k, I'll just write it as mu. I'll save time. So it will be mu into mg cos theta, which is the value of frictional force, multiplied by h by sine theta. That is the work done by friction. So far, so good. Do we understand this? Well done. Keep up the spirits. You might not be feeling very energetic today. Doesn't matter. Please keep up the good work. That must be equal to change in kinetic energy. Now, change always means final. minus initial. Look at the final. Final velocity is 0. So final kinetic energy is 0. Initial velocity is v. So initial kinetic energy is half mv square. So I just write here, this must be equal to 0 final minus half mv squared. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Sir, well done. Very good. Now, it's a simple question. I will just put all the data together. So now I have minus mgh as work done by gravity. I put it here. Let me color it with this blue color so that you understand it is gravity. Normal reaction is gone, so I will not name it. Then the next one is minus. I'll just put the terms together so that they look good in solving. Mu m g h cot theta. Cos by sin is cot, so I just put it cot. So I'll just color it in yellow so that you understand from where it is coming. This is this one, where it comes here. And that must be equal to 0 minus half mv squared. From where it is coming? It is coming from here. That's it. We are done. Now cancel out the common term. Remember, mass is not required. So mass just moves out. Negative, negative, negative cancels. You have the value of h. What is the value of h? Can you tell me the value of h by calculating? Anyone? That would be a good sign that we are in the class and we are studying. What is the value of h? I'll give you a minute to calculate. What is the answer for h? Simple. Just calculate it. Give me the answer.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
H is equal to GV square.
H is equal to?
GV square.
Probably you made a mistake. I think it will be v square divided by 2 times g into 1 plus cot theta. Are we getting this answer? Are we getting this answer, everyone? Raise hands. Yes. So, see, the answer looks very complicated if you look at it. Well done. Well done. I see. Everything is good. Life is good. But you have to work hard and at least respond in the class. Yeah. You don't respond, I feel sad. So h is this thing, v squared by 2g 1 plus cot theta. And where is mu? My mu is also here. I missed mu. 1 plus mu cot theta. I'm sorry. 1 plus mu cot theta. That is the answer. Now you can think. Now you can think ahead. If mu was 0, if mu is 0, that means this is frictionless. That means this is frictionless. The answer is simply v square by 2g. There's no friction. Answer is v square by 2g. Doesn't change anything. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So that's it. That is how you had to do this. Remember, I've told you that very specifically. Work energy theorem. Almost all the questions that you will have in mechanics, almost all will have this work energy theorem. I proved it to you that V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. That is work energy theorem. That comes in the chapter of motion in 1D. That is work energy theorem. Almost 90, 95, even 98% of questions are on work energy theorem, and that is why I'm doing it in so much detail. I did not have to do it. But you have to understand that this is the core of mechanics that we are doing it right now. Core of mechanics. And these are the questions that are going to come in your examination hall. And then you will remember, Sir ne karwaye the. Please spend time on it. I hope you are solving the DPPs. If there's any problem with the DPP, you can come up. I've already sent the solutions of the DPP as well. So I will ask the office people to give you the solutions as well. The solutions are also there. So you can go through the solutions. If there's anything that you don't understand, you can probably ask me. Okay. That's it from my end. I hope you have understood what we are supposed to do. We'll continue with this work energy theorem in the next class. In today's class, we discussed the paper. I have given you a simple homework of that question where x was given as a function of t, and you are supposed to find out the work done in the first 4 seconds or whatever seconds. Solve it, because we'll start the next class with the same question, same topic, work energy theorem. That's it from my end. Please work hard, beta. Please participate in the class. Please be interactive. That will help you and not me. So I'll wind up this class today. I hope you had a nice time. I had a nice time. See you in the next class day after tomorrow. Take care, beta.